So the cybernetic holographic lizard man known as Mark Zuckerberg just made the big old announcement. You know what that is, Matt?
Oh boy, here we go. Is he actually admitting to something that he did wrong? I
The,
think I heard it was something he did with uh, a little nefariously on his platform, compromising some free speech of some sort, something like that. Am I getting warm? Am I getting warm?
you're hitting the target. So
Okay.
let's talk about it.
Uh,
Zuckerberg says he regrets
mm,
because he couldn't pull out the caving to White House pressure on content. So that means
mm.
the White House gave him that gorilla grip that he couldn't pull out of, made a sloppy mess, and now he's got the burden of saying, hey, yeah, I was censoring people. So first of all, let's go ahead and pull up this segment here. And even Daniel messaged me with an article from Political last night too, which again, shout out to Daniel Lupker, my colleague. Breaking: Mark Zuckerberg admits to the House Judiciary that he pressured his teams to censor content on Facebook and Instagrams on behalf of the Biden-Harris administration. So, real quick, this is unrelated, but somewhat related. For those of you who have been with Hard Lens Media from the beginning, I think Miguel H., you're one of those people who've been with us from the beginning. We used to do a radio show, and before we actually had a YouTube presence, we had a Facebook page. And anytime we would post original content, original support, stuff that we did, it got a whopping 0 views, right?
Mm.
Even as we got to like 5,000 followers on Facebook, right? Still whopping 0. Anytime we posted anything from authoritative sources, it got the views automatically. And, I just remember the day when Daniel said, hey, look, dude, let's post on Facebook, but let's not make it our big investment. Because anytime we did like try and get views, like the one video in which we did our documentary about the toxic waste in, being dumped into Lake Michigan, we actually had to pay Facebook to boost up the views for that. And that's what you could do. If you have a Facebook page, you could pay Facebook, add, and say like, hey, boost this up for this amount. And it's got that video has more views than what we have on our YouTube page for that one documentary video that we did. But this is extremely serious. And I want to read this letter here before I pull it up here. Matt, how do you feel knowing that the good old Zuck is admitting that this stuff went down?
So I think that he feels this is good optics for him to be, I guess, as you can call it, transparent about what the decisions he made based on pressure. So I think, I want to go, let's definitely go through the letter, because it's important that we see that just because somebody is telling us, here's everything that happened, here's the story, they pressure me, I try to hold my ground, but then I caved on this and that, and at the time I thought this, and so we'll look at through this. But I want people to keep in mind when you're going through this, Kit. Keep in mind what principle actually is, because I don't know if Mark Zuckerberg has the principle he thinks he has. And as he recites the story, we go through this, we'll see if you can actually apply it. Because as we know, principle is something that you apply regularly. It's about consistency. It shouldn't just be applied because you got new information later and it makes something from the past not look as good. Principle is such a great thing, Kit, because when you apply it, even when information changes in the future, you can always look back and say, I did the right thing. It wasn't about other information. It was about what you do in that moment. And so that's the part I want to look at. But yeah, let's definitely go through it for the viewers and see, what's this story from his vantage point of how Facebook, Meta, Instagram got captured by our good friends over at the FBI, CIA, our surveillance state, and the censorship machine.
Yes, don't forget the NSA too. So this is again to the Honorable Jim Jordan. So let's go ahead and play this or read this. I appreciate the committee's interest in content moderation on online platforms. I sure as hell don't. As you are aware, Meta has produced several thousands of documents as part of your investigation and made a dozen employees available for transcribed interviews. Further to our cooperation with your investigation, I welcome the opportunity to share what I've taken away from this process. There's a lot of talk right now about how the U.S. government interacts with companies like Meta, and I want to be clear about our positions. Our platforms are for everyone. Oh, isn't that special? We're about promoting speech. Oh, my ass. Daniel has some words for you. And helping people connect in a safe and secure way. Bull. As part of this, we regularly hear from governments around the world and others with various concerns around public discourse and public safety. Oh, whatever. In 2021, here we go. Senior officials from the Biden-Harris administration, I'm adding in Harris because she was VP,
Right.
including the White House, repeatedly pressured our teams for months to censor certain COVID-19 content. You don't say! Including humor and satire, and expressed a lot of frustration with our teams when we didn't agree. Ultimately, it was our decision whether or not to take content down, and we own our decisions, including COVID-19 related changes we made to our enforcement in the wake of this pressure. You bent like a reed, and you snapped. I believe the government pressure was wrong. Oh, you think? And I regret that we were not more outspoken about it. We were following orders. I also think we made some choices that, with the benefit of hindsight, and new information we wouldn't make today. Yeah, always wrap it up.
That's it. That's it right there. That's it. We would change what we do knowing stuff now. No, you should have always had that in place, that we don't do this at Facebook. We don't. It doesn't matter if the information changed. There's a principle that had not been applied. That's the part that stuck out to me. But yes, continue.
Like I said to our teams at the time, I feel strongly that we should not compromise. Oh, my ass. Compromise our content standards due to pressure from any administration in either direction. And we're ready to push back if something like this happens again. Hey, folks, let's have democracy in the chat. Do you think next time, if there is a next time, there will be a next time, that good old Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, Meta, Instagram will stand up to it? Type 1 for yes, Kit. They learned their lesson, and this time, next time, it'll be different. You'll see. Type 2, dude, shut up with that, man. Come on, man. You know better. You already know you're going to ask the question, how many 2s will be in the chat? There better be a lot of 2s in the chat. In a separate situation, the FBI warned us about the potential Russian disinformation operation about the Biden family, and Burisma in the lead up to the 2020 election. That fall, when we saw the New York Post story, here we go.
Yep.
New York Post story reporting on corruption allegations involving then Democratic presidential nominee Joe 30330 Biden family. We sent that story to fact checkers for a review and temporarily demoted it while waiting for a reply. It's since been made clear that the reporting was not Russian disinformation, and in retrospect, we should have demoted the story. Hey, folks, let's have more democracy in the chat. Do you remember in 2020 when you tried to share that story on Instagram or Facebook or even Twitter, and you couldn't do it, or you lost your account, or you were locked out of your account? Type 3 for that never happened to me. Type 4, that did happen to me or people I knew. Yeah, it happened. It was real. It was very real. And hell, I was called a conspiracy theorist because I said, hey, shouldn't the media do its job? I mean, shouldn't it, in theory? So continuing on, we've changed our policies and procedures to make sure this doesn't happen again, forever and ever. For instance, we're no longer temporarily demote things in the U.S. while waiting for fact checkers. Well, what happened? Remember those 50 CIA experts? Yeah, 50 of them couldn't come up with anything. Apart from content moderation, I want to address contributions I made during the last presidential cycle to support electoral infrastructure. The idea here was to make sure local election jurisdictions across the country had the resources they needed to help people vote safely during a global pandemic. Right. I made these contributions through a Chan Zuckerberg initiative. They were designed to be nonpartisan and spread across urban, rural, and suburban communities. Still, despite the analysis I've seen showing otherwise, I know that some people believe this work benefited one party over the other. My goal is to be neutral, and not play a role one way or another, or even appear to be playing a role. So I don't plan on making a similar contribution this cycle. All because you got caught. Matt. Your thoughts, my friend.
I mean, look, I think that he feels that just by putting this out there, he's going to get a lot of sympathy from people who are, rooting for him to do the right thing. But the problem is he's revealing all his cards here, kid. He's saying, you know, we we trust the U.S. government. We trust the stuff being told to us. And we're gonna push back a little. But at the end of the day, we still think they have our best interests in mind. So he's not really going far enough. Obviously, he's not saying the real problem. The real problem is that the people trying to police him and police us through his platforms are have the worst intentions. They're the ones who deliberately say out loud that we don't want the American people to have access to real information during an election cycle. They gloat about it. The Washington Post gloats about it. They go on all these shows after Biden got the presidency. They went around and high-fived in public, out in the open, saying we did the right thing for the American people, keeping real information from them, keeping the Burisma story from the American people on purpose. We did a great job. High five. So Zuckerberg knew about this. Why is this letter coming out right now? What is the thing that he held on to? That's what I want to know. There's a lot of time. There's a lot of time has passed. So what has he been losing sleep over here? Oh man, he realized it back in 2021. Biden was inaugurated in 2021. And so he's been sitting on this for over 3 years, Kit. 3 years. He's been losing sleep going, I gotta tell people what they did. That they're high-fiving about something that they told me was the thing that we needed to do to protect people and keep them safe. We got to keep them safe. Always look out for that word, safety. It's never safety. It's called propaganda, and safety means they're keeping you from hearing an alternate view because that's going to disrupt their intention, which is to keep everybody in line with the agenda they have, the one point of view they have. And that's what censorship is, and that's what the system we live in is. And that's why we get at our own channel, on YouTube. Our own channel on YouTube gets terminated, and they use the same language when they give us the email and they say we have to keep the community safe, so your channel can't be on here anymore. Safety is a red flag, and it's a code word for you're going against the narrative of the establishment and the war machine.
So I want to pull up this tweet here from Patrick Bet David, and because I'm beginning to think there might be a little bit more to this. Because, let's face it, folks. Zuck's part of that big old club. Breaking. Mark Zuckerberg just admitted to working with the Biden-Harris administration to censor Americans. He either admitted this because, option 1, he's being honorable. He's being honorable, folks. Option 2, he's done. Finito with the Democratic Party. Or number 3, he's getting ahead of a whistleblower. What do you think about that? That is an interesting concept.
No, I didn't think about the whistleblower thing. That could be a thing. He could be getting ahead of something. I don't think it's number 1. No way. If you wanted to do that, you could have done this 3 years ago, like we said. The second one, and I think this goes back to our earlier topic when we talk about right-wing populism and what they think about the Democratic Party, and we agree with them a lot on on the corruption of the Democratic Party. But we know, you and I, Kit, know, and our audiences know that it's bigger than being done with the Democratic Party, if that is the case, which I don't think it's number 2. But for the rest of us who are done with the Democratic Party, you got to go further than that. I think he needs to rewrite that number 2 and say done with the establishment, done with the uniparty, basically. But it's hard. I understand it's hard to do that when you're coming from the right, because you still want to hold on to this notion that it's only the Democrats. That's the problem. No, the problem is whoever is controlling. It's the donor class, it's the oligarchy, it's the uniparty. That's the problem. But I get it. It's hard. You still want to hold on to this thing that the Republicans are right the whole time and Democrats are the only ones that are wrong. But I get it.
Exactly. And I want to pull up this article here from the BBC too, because once again, it's talking about, you guessed it, the Hunter Biden controversy. So Mr. Zuckerberg's comments on the Hunter Biden refer to the story of a laptop that was abandoned by the president's son at a repair shop in Delaware, at first reported by the New York Post. Now, look, I have my criticism of the New York Post, but they did their job. And the New York Post is an older outlet than Hard Lens Media, and they were censored on Instagram,
Mhm.
Facebook, Twitter, and you had to be very careful talking about this story. And I mean, look, I don't know what lies in store for me for the future. Maybe I'm dead in 4 years, or maybe I become an old man. But if I ever have relatives and they say, "Hey, yo, Grandpa Kid, can you tell us a story about what it was like during the time of censorship?" Well, back in the day, you had to be careful what you had to say on the interwebs. But it is something that, like, look, this is history that we're living through, and unfortunately, it's like somebody stapled together 1984, Fahrenheit 451, Brave New World into one big book and say, hey, what could go wrong? So, again, continue on. The newspaper claimed emails found on a computer suggested his business abroad had influenced U.S. foreign policy while his father was vice president. Say it ain't so. The president and his family have denied any wrongdoing. That's a shocker. The story became a notable right-wing talking point in the U.S. No, it became everybody's talking point and a point of contention as some social media platforms censored the content, which, again, everyone in the establishment media was for. Mr. Zuckerberg said the story temporarily demoted on his platforms while going through fact checks after warning from the FBI of a potential Russian disinformation operation. In retrospect, we shouldn't have demoted the story, Mr. Zuckerberg said. So he got caught. Now, look, this is, again, a serious initiative and thing that took place here. Matt, we have talked about just how crazy our fact-checking media can be. I mean, Matt, would the media ever lie to you?
No, kid. And if they do, it's an accident. It's not on purpose. It's just
It's
they get it wrong. And then every time, they realize they get it wrong, they always come on and they apologize to us wholeheartedly. And they say, we're going to try really hard never to lie again, because our job is to give you guys the truth. And, so that's how the things actually work. Right.
yeah. So I will ask, going forward now, because remember, there were the Twitter files. And again, you had a lot of people, share them, and so many individuals were making aware of it. But folks, I think, while the Twitter files got a lot of attention, and Elon Musk did make sure that stuff got out there, because the former management, the people who ran Twitter, more or less had connections with the FBI and made sure that not only this story, the Hunter Biden laptop story, was censored, but other stories and other content creators were censored too. But I think a lot of people, if we look back, there was a moment on the Joe Rogan show where he had Zuckerberg on, and Zuckerberg admitted to the same thing too, the Facebook files. And look, if these two platforms, including Instagram, also played the role in that, did all of them? And that's a question that we'll have to ask ourselves. And look, I'm all for free speech. And I know that there are bad people out there that abuse free speech. But I like to think that the world is filled with good people. But it is not corporate media's job, big tech, or any political party to dictate to the people what we can and cannot talk about. If there's corruption and evil happening, if there's abuse of power, we have a right to know about it. And we have a right to speak out. We have a right for free speech. I mean, we've been hit before. Hard Lens Media. I mean, hell, I'm the world heavyweight champion, but it is something I'm not proud of. Actually, it's very fearful. I stay awake. I stay awake a lot of times. I'm wondering, okay, what comes next? Because I love what I do. This is it's just like we had that conversation on Friday. All of us having dinner. All of us.
Yeah.
This is the life we chose, not trying to make us sound like, oh, this is it, but this is the life we chose because I love this. And even my viewing audience, they have been censored. Some people who set up accounts, even some of my moderators have been censored too. Because they posted something, they were trying to send a comment. And even then, I still get messages from people saying, hey, how come I was unsubscribed? Or, hey, how come I'm not being notified? And that's, the system itself telling, doing that against my own people. And I would love it if all 50,000 plus of my subscribers were made aware when I go live. That would be great. But this is a frightening time we are living in. And I do hope that things would get better, but hope in one hand, crap in the other. See which one fills up faster. I want to give you the final word, Matt, on this.
So, Kit, like this is a time when people either say, you know what, this isn't for me. I'm gonna go get back in line and just do my 9 to 5 and keep my mouth shut and just be accepted into social circles and just, I don't want to rock the boat, as they say. But then there's others like you, like the people in our lane, the people like us, that we are inspired by people like you, Kit, and the battle and the struggle every single day. And you talked about dinner the other day on Friday, where we're sitting at this table talking about this and saying this isn't a pat ourselves on the back moment. This isn't a celebrational moment of, hey, we got a badge of honor, we got Terminator, we're going, we're going all the way, we're fighting these guys, we're fighting the man. No, this is this moment where we go, if we don't do it, who else will? It's almost like this bird. I think it reminds me of Spider-Man, the Uncle Ben moment, right? Where he
Yeah.
says, with great power comes great responsibility. So what is that power? The power is that we realize that there's a media opportunity for us, that we have all the tools in front of us. We have access to this information. We know how to articulate and come up with a thought and comment on it. And we know that people want to hear that commentary. So there's a power, there's a responsibility there. And we have to keep doing it. And there's going to be pushback. It's going to get worse. It's not going to get easier, but we just have to keep going. And I do think that we inspire each other, and you certainly inspire us at the Homeless Left. And then when we get that termination, on YouTube, we don't stop. We keep going, and we say, that it means that we're getting close to something. It means we're doing something right. And so I think that's the case here. And so even on, some people are going to see Zuckerberg, admitting to stuff and going, oh, what a good guy. He's coming clean. But we know we can do better. We know he can do better. We know these things. So we got to set even a higher level. And it all comes back to principle and courage. And those are the things that keep us going and having these conversations. So, yeah, and we can't do it without the people watching right now and listening, and the people that believe in this as well. And so that's what keeps us going on the Homeless Left. And I know that's what keeps you going at Hard Lens Media. And so that power in the numbers, power in people, we're all in this together, as they say. But yeah, we got your back 100%.
And let's see. Hold on. I think I'll give this final word. Sorry, this one really caught my attention right here. Sorry about this before we end the segment. Casey McCoy says, "I'm worried about you guys getting arrested more and more." Well, you know what? I'm going to give a quote from Krusty the Clown when he was confronting the mob because he owed them money. You want to kill me? Go ahead and kill me. Whoa, 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 whoa. They're trying to shoot at him. But look, anything happens, the ball's in your court, people. Boot up and suit up. It's time to step up. All right. It's bigger than Hard Lens Media. It's bigger than, Do Dissidents or RBN or INN or Jimmy Dore or anyone on the left or right, libertarian or green. It's about free speech. It's about our voice. Now, some of us may not make it all the way there to the end. Who knows? Maybe this is overthinking. Maybe we won't have a grim, dark future. But it matters on what you say and what you do. It's not what you are going to be speaking about or stating on social media. It's your actions. And actions do matter. And our communities matter. And we as a people matter. Just because one of us is gone, 10 more take our place. You got to fight for that better future. No one is guaranteed a full life, after all. That's a quote that Germanicus said to his brother Claudius in the series I, Claudius. No one is guaranteed that. Death is the high cost of living. Being arrested. We've seen great journalists be arrested, silenced, detained, or worse. So if you want to fight for that better future, each of you in your own right has to do that. There is no great happy ending, but that doesn't mean that we can't build one and make it certain. So don't worry, I ain't going anywhere yet. And what gives me confidence in knowing that this thing will keep on going on is the will of the people. There's one thing that can't be silenced, and that's humanity's indomitable will.